This will be a Camp Echo tutorial for the paperwork that's required to work at camp. So step by step, I will go over the forms required. It is very important to fill out all of the documentation and submit it as well. First step is to go to the McGaw YMCA website, and under the Camp Echo section, the top headers, you will go under Work at Camp, and you want to select the hiring forms. Now, with these forms, you can mail them into the Y. You can fax them. If you fax them, put the attention to Gavin Watson. We have an instruction sheet, and it's a PDF, so make sure you read over that step by step, and it has the addresses and the fax number to submit the forms. So we're going to take a look at the employee handbook. This is required for all employees of the Y to read over and have an understanding. So make sure you read this entire document all the way to the bottom. All right, so under the essential forms section, we're going to start with the federal W-4 form. Now, the worksheet section is optional, but the withholding allowance certificate, that is what's required. So make sure to put your name, full name, your social security number, your address, all of your information there. Numbers 5 or 7 must be filled in. 6 is optional. And don't forget to sign and date at the bottom. The next section is for Illinois residents. It's the W-4. You can read through this, but the bottom section is what's important. Under the Illinois withholding allowance certificate, you fill in your social security number, your name, your information there, and make sure to select the options 1 through 3 and sign and date at the bottom. Now, if you're a Michigan resident, this is the form that you would fill out. It's very similar. You're going to put your name and your address, all of your information there. Don't forget your social security number. 6 or 8 is what you would select. 7 is optional. And make sure you sign and date. The next form, the W-4 form, is for if you are a resident of any other state besides Illinois or Michigan. So if you don't live in Illinois or Michigan, this is the form that you're going to fill out. You put your exempt status. Don't do 6 or 8, and 7 is optional. Make sure that you sign and date this form as well. Next up is the I-9 form. Please make sure that you read this entire document. We need page 7. That is what's important. If you're a U.S. citizen, please check the box. Part of the I-9 is proof of identification. There's a list of documents that we accept that are there. We do need this in person. Your identification, we need you to come into the Y and show it to us in person, and then we will make a copy of it. If you live out of state or are unable to come into the Y, please contact Gavin Watson. The next form is the criminal background form. Please make sure that you read over the entire criminal background form, and please put your full legal name, including your middle name. What's also important is that you list every county and state from the last 10 years. And then lastly, make sure that you sign and date this form. Background inquiry. Make sure that you select yes or no. When reading over the form and when you're complete with that, just sign and date, and also print your name. The DCFS background check for Illinois is also required. Make sure that you fill that out completely. sign and date it. What's important to note here is to submit this form to us here at the Y. You do not have to submit this form to DCFS. If you are a Michigan resident, you fill out their DCFS form. So make sure you put in all the information at the top and sign and date. Any other resident of any other state, make sure you contact Gavin Watson and he will get that form for you. Next up is the form for direct deposits. Now this is how you get paid, so it's very important to complete this form. Even if you were an employee before or you've done it in the past, you must submit it again. So make sure you put your information clearly, your social security number, so you sign and date, and you select the option that you need, whether that be enroll, cancel, or change, and your effective date, or as soon as possible. Now, they have options there in the middle. Make sure you select one of those. We also need a copy of your voided check. The certification sheet is next up. Any certifications that you have, make sure you copy them in front and back and attach. Now, under the additional forms section, first up is the health form. So just make sure you're completing this entirely. Your insurance cards must be copied front and back. Make sure that you're signing where it has the arrows to sign and date. The page 3 is very important. That must be completed by a licensed healthcare provider. Next up is scheduled meds. So if you have scheduled medications, make sure that you're filling this out and what they are. The ACA disclaimer form is next. Pretty much you just fill this out and you sign and date there. The code of conduct, you're going to read over all 22 points and make sure you sign and date the bottom. And lastly is the waiver form. Make sure that you put your name and then you sign and date in 2 spots on the first and the second page. So I hope that this was helpful. Please know that all of these documents are required to work at camp, and it is very important that you fill them out and submit them completely. If you have any further questions, you can contact Gavin Watson, and we look forward to seeing you at camp this summer.